We see them on the highway every single day, right? Those massive rigs that are basically the lifeblood of our economy. But have you ever really stopped to wonder what life is actually like for the person behind that wheel? Today, we're going to dive into the truck driver's paradox, this incredible life of freedom that so often comes with a really profound and sometimes crushing sense of loneliness.
You know, a former driver on Reddit put it in a way that just sticks with you. They said they also say diesel gets in your blood. A lot of former truck drivers find themselves yearning for that lifestyle again. That really captures it, doesn't it? What is it about this incredibly tough job that's so magnetic it just stays with people forever?
Well, to even begin to understand that pull, you have to start with the dream, the promise of the open road. For a lot of folks, the appeal is all about what they're trying to get away from. I mean, think about your typical 9-to-5 job. The cubicle walls closing in, the office drama, that rigid schedule, a boss always looking over your shoulder. Trucking? It's the polar opposite. It's the open highway. It's independence and solitude. It's the promise of being your own boss. No forced small talk, just you, the engine, and the road ahead. And the things that pull you in are really powerful. Driving schools and veteran truckers all point to the same stuff. You get paid to see the country, you can make a really good living without needing a 4-year degree, and for so many, it's just about that pure sense of adventure, not being stuck inside the same 4 walls with the same people day in and day out. But that whole romance of the open road, it's balanced by this immense, and I mean immense, responsibility. That freedom doesn't just happen. A whole lot of meticulous work has to be done before the wheels even start to turn. So before a driver can even think about turning the key, there's this critical, federally mandated ritual. The best way to think about it is like a pilot's walk around before takeoff. It's a super detailed pre-trip inspection. And we're not just talking about kicking the tires here. They're checking brake lines, making sure tire pressure and tread are safe, testing every single light and reflector, and going over all their paperwork. It's a legal requirement, and missing just one thing could have devastating consequences.
And all of this gets formally documented. At the end of every single workday, drivers have to fill out what's called a DVIR, a Driver Vehicle Inspection Report. This isn't just busy work. It's a legal record that certifies the vehicle is safe to be on the road. It's this constant daily reminder that trucking isn't just about freedom. It's a profession that is absolutely built on accountability.
That accountability is one weight that drivers carry. But there's another one that's often much, much heavier and defines the job for so many, the profound weight of loneliness.
Imagine it. The engine's been running for hours. The world is flying by. You're focused, you're moving. But what happens when the engine finally stops? What happens when the workday is over and all you're left with is silence?
This is where the reality of the job can hit, and hit hard. A driver on Reddit put her feelings out there so rawly, saying, "I thought I experienced sadness and loneliness before I became a truck driver. But now, it's on a level I can't comprehend." It's just a gut punch of a quote, and it gives you a real look into the deep, deep isolation that can come with a life lived in solitude. And look, this isn't just a feeling a few people have. The data backs it up. A recent survey from Fleet Owner found that only 51% of drivers say they're happy in their job. Let that sink in for a second. That means almost half, 49%, of the drivers you see on the road are either unhappy or just neutral about their career. That is a huge number. And when you dig into that data a little deeper, you find a trend that's even more concerning. Just a few years ago, back in 2019, 60% of drivers with less than 8 years on the job said they were happy. Fast forward to 2023, and that number has plummeted to just 47%. It really seems like the lifestyle is getting tougher, especially for the folks who are newer to the industry. So how do you survive that? How do you deal with that kind of intense isolation day after day? Well, for many, it becomes this story of pure resilience and a very deliberate, conscious effort to find connection in a pretty disconnected world. When you're alone in a cab for that long, you have to get creative to fight off the silence. And drivers have built these incredible support systems. They're creating online communities on platforms like Discord just to chat throughout the day. They're firing up online games to connect with friends during their downtime.
A lot of drivers find companionship by bringing a pet along for the ride. And of course, there are those regular, crucial calls to family and friends. Hobbies like reading or writing become absolute lifelines. And sometimes it's the simplest gestures that mean the absolute most. Like this Redditor shared. I have friends that are truckers. I check in with 2 of my friends every single day, even if it's a simple, hey, you good? You got this? In a job that's defined by distance, that small, consistent act of just reaching out, it can make all the difference in the world. So all of this brings us to the ultimate question. After you weigh the freedom against the loneliness, the adventure against the grind, why on earth do they keep driving? Well, the first thing to understand is that the classic image we have of total freedom, it's changed a lot. Modern trucks are packed with technology, cameras and sensors that monitor everything from your speed to how hard you brake to how closely you're following the car in front of you. That romantic idea of being completely independent has been replaced by a much, much more monitored reality. So, this is the core trade-off. This is the central conflict of a trucker's life laid out right here. On one side, you've got the dream, the freedom, the good money, seeing the country, and real pride in your work. But on the other side, there's the grind, that intense isolation, the unstable pay, the constant surveillance, and just all those long hours away from the people you love. It's a balancing act every single day. So why do it? Maybe the answer isn't something you can find on a pros and cons list. As the Open Road podcast puts it, it's not an easy job, but for the people who choose it, it's more than just work. It's a way of life. Remember that line? The diesel gets in your blood. For many, it's just a fundamental part of who they are, something they can't just walk away from. And it leaves you with one final thought. The next time you're out on the highway and you pass one of those big rigs, just take a second. The driver in that next lane, what's their story? Are they out there chasing a dream, fighting off loneliness, or maybe just trying to get home? It's a powerful reminder of the complex human story that's rolling right alongside us every single day.